Oh, there's my voice. I don't want to listen to myself. And and at him do. Can I spell his name right? Probably not, but I'm gonna try anyway. There we go. Everything's rolling now. Periscope is flying. I'm somewhat flying. I am not caffeinated yet, but I will be, as tonight we got basically a double header if you want to look at it that way, because this is Often Pacing Live right now. We're going to have coverage of the North America Cup. Now you might be saying to yourself, the North America Cup happened a month ago, Ray. Have you just finally left your cave that somehow has Wi-Fi access for you to send your dope and radical tweets from, just to think? I lost track where the sentence was going. The point being is, this is the Often Pacing North America Cup at Mohawk Racetrack in Often Pacing, because one of the great things with this game is how it's been able to, I guess, assimilate. I can't think of the word. To gather real harness racing and present it in this accessible manner, more accessible than having to go to a regular racetrack or be on an ADW or such. And not only that, it's more engaging and more interactive because you're able to run these stables and own your own horses, race your own horses. This is making sense to me. I hope it's making sense to you. It won't have to make sense for our guest tonight, as I'm preparing to call him right now. You may know him, and I know I've been getting calls saying you've been introducing a lot of these people the very same way, and I think it's in the tone and the inflection, the inflection or the infliction? It's the inflection. In the inflection of how I say the nouns that describe my guests that really captures the nuance of each of their characters and personalities. So my guest tonight, you know him as a driver, man, person. I hope we're all saying that together. We're anticipating all the words to be coming out. It's fine. I'm calling him right now as I put in the area code, followed by the other area code, and the next numbers, because I don't think you'd appreciate me saying the numbers out loud and giving it out on the broadcast. We go to speakerphone, we let it ring, because we are waiting for our guest this evening, Mr. Corey Callahan. He'll be here some point.
Hello?
Hi, Corey. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Do you have a moment to talk about your car insurance? I'm kidding. I'm not one of those guys. I got you. I got you, didn't I?
What's going on?
I don't know anymore, man, but I do know that we have coverage of Often Pacing, which of course is the hit harness app, as you know too, just spreading across the continent and across the world. And I'm not only psyched to just be here, I'm also psyched to be talking to you, because Corey, I'm going to play a little game with you. I'm going to play Do You Remember?
You got it. Let's do it.
Okay, it's not really much of a game. It's more going to be whether or not I'm a memorable person or not. But anyway, 2013. You're driving in the I'm a Lula final. You have a little mare by the name of Dorsey. You go almost wire to wire with her. You win so easily, and then downstairs into the winner's circle comes a little pipsqueak kid. I think that's the sound I made. I come up, I shake your hand, I go, Corey, thank you very much for winning that race, man. You really, I've been following this horse for so long. You went, yeah, because I don't know what you're supposed to say to that. But I'm wondering, does that pipsqueak kid ring any bell in your head?
Yeah. No, I remember that. That was a good day. It was a little muddy there. But yeah, I remember that.
Now, Corey, you're coming off as a very good liar right now, and I may have to cast you in whatever picture. I imagine you remember the race, because that was a very big race to win, especially on that kind of day. But to remember, Pipsqueak Boy, I'm a little sketchy. I'm a little hesitant to believe that.
Well, you don't usually go for the chalk. So she was paying a good price that day, and you usually look for some value. So.
Oh my God, you might actually know me.
Yeah, I know.
Which that reminds me too. I told my dad. You of course know my dad. You know my father.
Right.
I have to say that in the I didn't say that in the Italian voice because that has a whole different meaning if I do it that way. But I told him you were going to be on tonight, and all he said to me was, "Tell him I want to talk to him," and that's it. He said
Okay.
he said it like the vice principal who wants to tell you you're in trouble. But no, he didn't actually say it like that. He said
boy.
that more friendly. Friendly?
Right.
More amiably. I don't know any words anymore, Corey. I apologize. I'm coming at you with no
Yeah,
words ready.
I thought you had an extensive vocabulary.
I used it all up over the last 3 days of doing nothing. I don't understand where I'm going now. But let's make this less about me. You're the guest. I got some questions for you. I'm interested, Corey, because I've only had those little bare bones interactions with you. And the one thing, too, that I think is really important with these broadcasts is we inform people that are playing this game, if they aren't familiar with harness racing, that there are real people associated with this game. Like, you could have Corey Callahan driving your horses. Corey Callahan is a real harness driver. He's a real man. He has a family that he is able to feed with his horse racing income because it's a viable career choice, and it's not like your parents were against it anyway, because I'm pretty sure you're a second-generation horseman, right?
Third, actually.
Third! Everyone's a third at this point. It's interesting.
Yep.
So then you're third generation. Of course, that means your grandparents were involved, your dad and your mom were involved. I'm bunching them together because they're the same generation. But when did you really get your first taste of harness racing?
I grew up on a horse farm. Both of my parents, they worked together side by side there. So I was around the horses my whole life, and like any horse racing or kid from a horse racing family. When I was a little kid, spent a lot of time, at the racetrack. But as I got a little bit older and involved in sports, I didn't really go that much and all after that, or even really follow it too much. I didn't really get back involved until later in my 20s.
That's right, because if I remember correctly, you went to the University of Kentucky on a hockey scholarship, right? Hockey was your sport?
Not a scholarship, yeah,
No.
but I played hockey down there at UK.
Wow, you played is that D1 hockey then?
No, it's club hockey.
Oh, club hockey. Okay. Yeah, you haven't been going there for a second. I was going, well, I mean, you could have had a whole different career if that was the case. If that worked out. But
yeah. Exactly.
Were horses were they really more of a fallback then, or was hockey not really your true passion that you didn't really know yet what you wanted to do at that point? Does that make any sense?
Yeah. I went out there to school, just play hockey, get an education, and when I got out of school, I put on the suit and tie and did that for a little while because that's what my parents told me to do. They're like, you're going to go to college and have a real job. So I did that, and I did it for about 5 years, I guess. And and when Friday afternoon rolled around, I was like, oh my God, thank God it's over. And then Sunday night I was thinking, man, I got to go back to work tomorrow. And I didn't want to live my life that way anymore. So I called my dad. He's got a pretty big stable of horses, and my younger brother was already working for him at the time, and I was like, listen, can you just give me a job like cleaning stalls or something until I figure out what I want to do with my life, so to speak. So I did that. I went over there for him, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to get my qualifying license with I drove in a couple amateur races, and at Rosecroft they have an amateur group called the Capital Area Amateur Drivers Association, and I joined that. Had a little cheap horse that I put in there. I raced in it 3 times, won all 3 times, and the guys were like, "Hey, listen, you can't race in here anymore with us. Like, we're just a bunch of hacks. Why don't you try to pursue this thing for real?" And I did, and here I am.
And what age was that then when you really started to kick off your professional career? Was that late 20s?
I think I was 27.
27. Wow, that's like 9 years away from me. That's going to be a weird age, I bet. Everyone talks about 27. I don't know why. because I'm
Yeah.
young. But I'm kind of getting into character because I have to plug my show, North American Harness Update, Fridays at 9 p.m. SRN1. Hey, you want to talk? You have a question for Corey? I'm talking to him right now. He's on the air. You're on the air. Frank Catolo's here with us.
Hi, Corey.
Hey, how you doing, Frank?
Okay, man. Hey, listen, you got a couple of minutes. Come, you gonna be there the night before the Hamiltonian?
Yeah, sure.
You driving that night? I want to talk to you. Get some quotes, and I want to talk to you about some stuff for players. Okay? Can I get a couple of minutes from you that night?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Just give me a call or come find me about it.
Yeah, I'll remind you. I'll remind you of what I look like, so you'll know. I know what you look like.
Okay.
Thanks,
I'm
Corey.
inside with Corey Callahan written on my collar.
That'll help me a lot.
Yeah.
And I know your colors. Thank you. You're one of my favorites, man.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks, Frank.
Frank Catolo, ladies and gentlemen. So, 27, you get your professional license then. You stick around in Maryland then for a couple years. How long were you just sticking around there before you made the move up to the Meadowlands and the East Coast?
I don't think I officially moved to the Meadowlands until probably like around 2013, maybe.
Oh, that's
So, the Meadowlands is the best of the best. So, you can't just like say, hey, I'm going to be a driver at the Meadowlands. So, I just kind of honed my craft down there at Rosecroft and, picked up some good work there at Dover Downs and, got teamed up with Dylan Davis, which really, helped me a lot as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, then in 2012, like I had Goo Gaga, and, he came to the Meadowlands, won a few races, and I kind of just, made the move from there.
Well, I mean, you gotta kind of say to yourself, I'm gonna be a driver at the Meadowlands. You gotta have a little bit of narcissism going for you, you know what I mean? To make that kind of move. But I know where you're coming from because you did work really hard. You were one of the top drivers down at Dover Downs for the first couple of years I was involved in the industry, at least, and it was kind of fun to see you. As if, like, I'm the proud father. It was fun to see you grow up and amount to great things. Because now you're in, like, your fourth or fifth year at the Meadowlands. And so, I mean, what's the future look like for you? You still going to be driving horses? You going to look to kind of branch out into any other horsey ventures? Because I know you also own some.
Yeah, and I've been, I'm like really into the breeding aspect of it. I'm fortunate. My wife, she used to be a vet tech, and she's really good with the horses. So we have a 10-acre farm with a couple brood mares, and have some babies and this and that. So this year is the first crop of Goo Goo Gaga, and I've got a pretty decent filly that's qualified. There at Chester nicely a couple times. So, we'll see how she does this year, and then I'd love to see her in the Hamilton Oaks next year, but, we'll just have to see how that goes.
Now, you got to give me 100% honest feedback on this, all right? Because I know you got kind of an attachment to Goo Goo Gaga, but being the kind of weird breeding he had, and also looking at a horse like E-I-E-I-O for, what's his name? I forget, but he's of the similar ilkage, because he's from Cam's Rocket and such. How do these babies look any different from a standard bred horse? That was a bad pun. Like a standardly bred horse. Do they have any like kind of differences in development and growth, or is it just purely they just trot?
They just trot. The one that I have. I mean, she's about as nice a trotter as you can find. She wears a pair of shin boots behind, and just, she just goes right along. So, I've only seen one Cam's Rocket out of a trotting mare that is on the pace, but most of them they just trot. The Hand family kind of fell into a gold mine with that whole deal with Cam's Rocket. I mean, if you look at his numbers, his statistics they're staggering.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of money he's made, as a sire and his strike rate and everything. So, I hope it continues because he's getting old now, so he kind of needs, somebody to carry on his legacy, I guess. So hopefully it's good. He's getting a lot of attention, in Sweden and Europe. So.
Oh, I didn't know he was breeding over there. But that also must be like the worst if you're breeding specifically to get a fast trotter and you end up getting a slow pacer. You just want to go, damn it! I had 2 choices! I had 2 chances! I got the wrong one.
Right.
And then those horses
exactly.
we sell to the Amish. But the North America Cup here in Offen Pacing is coming up soon, so I want to talk briefly about your experience with the game because I'm not. You have a stable, do you not? You're involved in Offen Pacing, of course.
Yeah, I do. I am Infinity Farm Racing.
Oh, okay. Nothing like.
Yeah.
I mean, at least Yannick Gingras is Gingras 3. I know who he is.
Right.
How am I supposed to know who you are? With your creative
well, I
names.
wasn't thinking about that when I started my stable.
Well, I mean, I wasn't either when I created Zingy's Donuts and Horses LLC. I was thinking, if I get into the donut industry, then maybe this could start to spur out into something, But
There you go.
why would I ever get into donuts? There's so many holes in that plan. Anyway.
Oh, goodness.
I know, and I'm just getting started. North American Harness Update, 9 p.m. So you're driving the mountains. Of course, we've had Yannick on the broadcast before too. So, is it really true that in between races you walk by horsemen and they're just sitting there checking their stables to pass the time, and they're just that engaged in the game?
Oh yeah, there's a group of I think 8 of us that were on a group text. It's myself and Yannick, PJ Fraley, and then a few guys from Chicago that are actually coming out here this weekend for the pace. They're just they're involved in the horse racing industry, but not cogs Yannick and myself are.
Mm-hmm.
But my phone blows up all night long about just the game. I mean, you wouldn't believe the amount of text messages on my phone, from those guys. And even actually my brother, he sent me a link today to one of his races. I told him he had this pretty nice horse named Sweetwater,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, dude, you got to get a better mark on this horse so you can breed to him. Put him in at this track and put me up. So he did, and the thing won in 47-2 at some state race or something. So he was all pumped about it too. So it's neat. I mean, it gives us something else to talk about other than real horses.
Yeah, who cares about real horses anymore? This is the digital age.
Right, exactly.
I'd imagine, too, your Twitter notifications probably blow up from everyone talking about how awful a virtual driver you are, which is better than talking about if you're a bad real driver.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I'll take it.
And I'd imagine, do you guys in that group chat, do you, harass one another, too? Yannick, why do you drive my horse so badly?
Oh, yeah, we torture each other all the time. The guys that use Yannick, if he drives bad, they're like, you stink. If they use me, they're like, oh my God, thank God you're not this bad in real life. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Humorous. We get a kick out of it.
It's funny just hearing about it too, because it's like I said, it's frightening how real this game has become, but also just again speaks droves about how effective of a game it is, how well designed. Now, unfortunately, Corey, I've had fun. I hope you had fun, but I gotta let you go because we're getting ready to talk. We're getting ready to call the North America Cup from Mohawk Racetrack. Corey Callahan, everyone. Corey, thank you for joining me.
You got it. Thanks for having me.
All right, no problem. See you, Hambo. See you, Hambo.
All right, man.
See you at the
Take care.
Hambo. All right, you too. Bye-bye.
All right, yeah.
That was Corey Callahan, harness driver. He's driving at the Meadowlands tonight. Now let me make sure. Yep, everything's going. Everything's rolling. The field is lined up for the North America Cup, and they're off and pacing. YG Jaden leaves well from the center and is firing out for the lead as they move on to that first turn. A narrow lead here for YG Jaden as they move on past the first eighth and move up to that opening quarter. Second then to the inside as they make their way to the turn comes Mount Vernon. Then on his back, Ace Damage now parked out as YG Jaden clears the lead as they pass the first quarter in 25-4. Mount Vernon second. Inside third, Springer Spaniel wide then parked out, uncovered. Ace Damage dropping back fourth as they move on to the backstretch. Hilarious Hippie takes the fourth spot now to the inside. Then it's back to Frisky Joe locked in by win one for the Gipper, second over, pacing seventh. Eighth is Refrigerator Perry. Ninth comes Pocono Markey. And 10th and last, Cool Beans. On down the backstretch in the North America Cup. YG Jaden a length in front of Mount Vernon riding that pocket. Meanwhile, Springer Spaniel stalks them from third. Hilarious Hippie still locked in fourth as Ace Damage begins to advance gradually to the outside fifth. Sixth then to the inside. Frisky Joe still second over. Win one for the Gipper as they move on to that far turn off a 53-second half mile. YG Jaden unchallenged, unpressured, unfazed in front of Mount Vernon sitting second. Springer Spaniel's then third to the inside. Hilarious Hippie with room to tip out now as Ace Damage begins to drop back wide of Frisky Joe as they come on past three quarters in 1:20 flat and out of the pocket now. Mount Vernon tries to pursue. YG Jaden ducks back into the stretch. Hilarious Hippie to the inside third. Springer Spaniel moved down and is now beginning to rush for Jamie Dernberger Smith after YG Jaden. Here's Springer Spaniel now coming up front. He's 3 lengths clear of Frisky Joe towards the center of the track, and YG Jaden to the rail. The North America Cup to Springer Spaniel. He was clear of Frisky Joe in second. YG Jaden ended up finishing third. Mount Vernon fourth in 1:46 and 2. Well, folks, the great thing about that was we had no technical problems as the broadcast still ran. Everything ran smoothly. Nothing is overheating. I'm glad we made it through after the little mishaps we had earlier this week with, I think it was the 6th pace. I forget the race. I should know this because I do this so frequently. I'm sounding like a bad host now. Want to thank again Corey Callahan for joining us. I know I'm glad horsemen want to talk to me. I don't really feel like I'm the kind of person that's really talk toable, especially when you catch North American Harness Update Friday is in today, 2 hours from now. It's 7 o'clock on the East Coast, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, 7 Mountain, 6 Pacific, and I don't know what time zone they're on in Hawaii, but we're on all of those times, in that time range, wherever you're located. Just go off of 9 Eastern, however many hours you have to add or subtract to that, and we will be on the air at 148.ca/1. My co-hosts Rod Allums Jr. and Mike Prebosi will join me. I'll be there too. I'm gonna join myself, and that means a lot if you know the kind of character that I am. And I'm currently sprinkling the air with magic because that's the best way I could describe myself. We got Meadowlands Pace to talk about tonight, as well as all of the undercard stakes for that, and we're also going to talk about the Jackpot High Five at Hawthorne Racecourse for tomorrow, which has a guaranteed pool of $500,000 because it's a mandatory payout. So if you're interested in trying to find the contenders in that race and try and make the most effective play for the bang of your buck, make sure you tune in. That's going to be more towards the end of the show. Again, North American Harness Update 9 to 11 on SRN1 148.ca/1. I have to leave now to get ready for that show. I am not caffeinated at this point, and that's a problem if I'm going to be doing 2 hours of radio for not only myself or my co-host, but for the world. So if you excuse me, I need to go brush up. I need to get. I'm dressed right now. I'm dressed in some pretty snazzy clothes because I'm a millennial and that's our style. North American Harness Update tonight at 9 p.m. I hope to see you there. I hope I'll be there because, quite frankly, I sometimes don't know. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time here on Off and Pacing Live.